Hello and welcome to Ham Nation, episode 581 for September 11th, 2024. And hello and welcome to Ham Nation. Appreciate you coming out here on the Ham Radio Crash Course. That's right. I'm very tired. I got up very early today. So let's throw it over to the host and bring them on into the fun, and they'll be able to talk a little bit more energetic than I am. How's it going, host? How are you doing this evening?
Hi.
Hanging on. Good. Sounding very good. Don is hanging on. That's right. We've been getting live text updates from Don. He'll talk about it when we get to Don about the weather, but he's been having it. Gordo, how are you doing up there?
All is well. We're handling some fire comms because we got, as you know, fires all around us.
I was out. I was driving home up the 605 North, and I was watching the mountainside north of me. You could actually see the flames coming over the top of. Right. I guess what fire was that, Gordo?
That's a line fire,
yeah.
Or the airport fire is what's in our backyard.
Oh, not that one. The one that was up on coming over the crest line, right? I guess I can't remember.
We have like three, so. Who knows?
On multiple fronts. California's on fire again. Fire. Yeah. And Don, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm watching the radar on my phone. I'll show you this here in a sec. The eye is just getting into New Orleans. New Orleans is in the thick of the eye wall. They probably got 70, 80 mile an hour winds. Up where we are, we're 50 miles northeast of New Orleans, and we've got sustained winds at 19, gusting to 45. I'll see if you can see this on my phone. If up in the upper right corner of this, you'll see what looks like a little blue target right above the word Picayune, and that's where we are. And I think you'll be able to see New Orleans from where the storm is. So just take a look at that.
Oh yeah!
Oh wow! Wow!
So what is that?
So yeah, that's live
storm-wise.
That's a lot. It was a very, very low Cat 2 when it came on land. And I think that was about 93, 94 mile an hour winds.
Wow.
It had just attained Category 2 like an hour, probably less than an hour before landfall. And so we're expecting the meat of it to get up here probably about the time we get done here, around 9 o'clock Central. So, but it's just tropical storm force winds up here for us. I don't think we're going to be... as long as the power and the internet holds out, I think we'll be here for the duration.
Yeah, you told me, it's lowered down to a Category 2, and then you're like, I've seen worse spring rains or something like that, and then you told me 98 miles per hour winds. I don't know about. Go ahead.
I sent Josh a video. I walked outside just to show him what the weather was, and hell, there wasn't even raining. It was dead calm.
Yeah,
it's just like we're supposed to have this Category 2 hurricane, but that's just the way they are.
That's good. I think I take that. They promised to hit
They look real big, and then
tiny.
Once they hit land, it's like they suck down. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Amanda, how are you doing this evening?
I'm excellent. Thank you for asking. Thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. We got a great show, and everyone's going to learn about ARRL CARP. I'm going to leave it at that. And have a great guest to explain what it is and how you guys can be participants in it. Also, we'll be watching the chat room. And first and foremost, so I would be amiss if I didn't recognize the date, September 11th.
Yes.
I'd like to remember everybody that we lost in a senseless terrorist attack 23 years ago. I cannot believe it's 23 years ago. But all have been remembered and are remembered forever. So.
Yep. Sadly, to add to that is all
Never
the people
forget.
who medically, after inhaling the smoke and the heavy metals and mercury and all that stuff that was in the air, that are
Bad
still
issues.
dying from the effects of the attack. And my heart just goes out for all of them until everybody's
I know it.
affected. It's so sad.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Josh. Gordo, it's up to you. Take it away.
All right. Well, tonight is certainly ARRL night because they are doing so much to help ham radio. But a lot of the ARES members of the ARRL's emergency group here locally in Southern California are responding to shelters. And you know, the thing that everybody needs at a shelter that hams should certainly bring along if they're going to be doing shelter comms is simple cell phone wall warts and the cables for different types of cell phones, because many of the residents, hundreds and hundreds, had to evacuate the mountains because they're absolutely on fire. And they left before they got their cord. So if you ever go to a shelter, be sure that you bring along some USB cords with different terminations, and you'll be a hero. Well, we have lots of activities going on, and the league is a big part of them. So let's go ahead and jump right in, Josh, and we'll take a look. The one coming up about a month of the way is Pacificon. And this is the big West Coast Amateur Radio Convention held at the San Ramon Marriott in San Ramon near San Francisco. And it's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, October 18, 19, and 20 deal. And they have a program that is unbelievable. First of all, it's held at the prestigious Marriott Hotel. This is a lot to ask because, as a Hamfest chairman will tell you, or chairwoman will tell you, these hotels can be very expensive. Yet Pacificon, they're working with the same hotel, and they really take good care of the Hamfest. And very seldom do we get rain, but there's a little bit of rain a few years ago at the Marriott Hotel. And they have an outside swap meet on Sunday morning. And good West Coasters get there about 6 in the morning and find that you're already too late. You really need to get there about 5 because they do the setup rain or shine. Part of the Hamfest are also public safety support, and a lot of those vehicles are right there at the Pacificon Hamfest for inspection. And you know, San Ramon, well out of the Bay Area, local area, is really proud to have ham radio operators serve as their emergency communicators. And the league with their ARES program is really adding to the capability of hams. But again, if we respond to a shelter, make sure and bring a lot of those telephone patch cords. Friday's the big antenna day. And if ever you wanted to know the innards and outers of antennas, antenna ranges, takeoff patterns, construction, it's an all-day deal. It's an extra attraction, but it's right there at the hotel. And you'll learn all about antennas, and you'll walk away once you get signed up with about a 2-inch thick antenna compendium. And that is set for that Friday, October 18. As we go into Friday evening, they open up the exhibit hall, and there are dealers galore that have ham radio, and this is the ham radio outlet booth, and because they're local to San Ramon, they really have it well covered. And you'll see a lot of the HRO folks there. And if you look a little off to the right and over, that's the ARRL booth, and they've got a big 20-foot booth, and you're going to meet all the ARRL top brass there, along with my boss, as I'm a volunteer working with Steve Goodgame, K5ATA, and Steve is the education manager, and you're going to hear from Andy very shortly about the new Collegiate Radio Amateur program. My job is to head up the instructor program, not for the professional teachers, but for you, the Elmers. And part of that is going to be happening on Saturday morning. And it's called the ARRL Ham Radio Academy. Make that the Instructor Academy. And at the Instructor Academy, we've done a lot of them before. It's going to be a lot new materials that are provided by the ARRL for those of you teaching class. class. But to start off the Instructor Academy, they have a breakfast. So I have to put on my routine and play some funny outtakes of Hams having fun on the air. And that's always a good wake up at 7 o'clock Saturday morning. When those hams that are teaching classes or thinking of taking the instructor training, they'll come into a room, actually the same room where they've had their big feast for breakfast, and see that we put out a lot of instructor packages courtesy of the American Radio Relay League. And that's the same thing we do for new students coming into a classroom, whether it's a weekend class or an 18-weeker. We want them to see that this is not going to be just a talking head, because if you look at the top of the screen, you'll see stuff. And as a good ham, you know you gotta have stuff. And we indicate all the kind of stuff that you could have just on this one table here. I mean, if you're talking about coax cable or air dielectric, pass around some coax with the air dielectric coax as well, so they get a chance to really see it. You're talking diodes, you're talking voltage and current and so on. That's all in our brand new ARRL Instructor's Guide. And we just posted that. And if you are an ARRL member, you can get to that by going to arrl.org / and my name, Gordon-West. Don't forget the hyphen, and then you'll get into the Learning Center, and then you'll be able to download this instructor guide courtesy of the ARRL and our work to set it up. And yes, that was for tech. We also have one for general class as well. And we have certificates, and the certificates go to those that attend the instructor workshop, as well as certificates for those that have passed an exam. As we see Dr. T, very, very happy several years ago passing the exam, because every student likes a little bit of entertainment besides just learning about ham radio. And instructors, as you're going to learn even more from Andy, we're all teamed up to make ham radio classes exciting. Yeah, you've all heard about the glowing pickle. But believe it or not, we first measure the pickle for resistance, not plugged in. Then we set up the amp meter to measure current flow. We set up the voltmeter to look at 110 volts. We then impale the pickles on 2 spikes, and we do the little demonstration. This is not going to be done as part of the ARRL class, but rather we'll probably do it in my informal breakfast seminar. And that's Dave Bell, the late Dave Bell. And we're calculating the amount of wattage that the pickles will consume by looking at the voltage and the current. Oh, yeah, they call that Ohm's Law. Well, this is one way to make Ohm's Law really come to life. And we'll talk about some of these demonstrations, and we'll have this circuit board here with all the fuses in place, but you may not see it in the ARRL portion of my instruction for the Academy class, but you may see it earlier. So, yep, we'll bring the pickles. And Pacificon is a great ham fest for kids. They have a special area with league members and staff that are working with kids. Notice everybody's wearing the kids are wearing their protective goggles. We teach them safety while soldering. And the Pacificon really goes all out. But here's the big deal. We encourage all of you to consider teaching a ham radio course. And we have the guide that is all right here that we've updated, that will talk about how to teach a course and how to go through the questions and what kind of fun demos you can add. Because we need more Elmers coming in to teach classes, especially classes for kids. So we're hoping all of you will get a chance to go to arrl.org / and my name, Gordon West, but a hyphen in between first and last name, and that'll put you to the instructor welcome page. Then drop down there and get to the Learning Center, and then see all of the great courses that the League has lined up for all of you that are thinking about having the ham radio service grow. So I hope to see all of you about a month away from now. But more important, be sure all of you to take in a ham fest. Thank the committees for helping the ham service grow by these ham fests, and give them a kado or two because they really need it. It's a job to put this 3-day class or 3-day ham fest together with classes. Again, Pacificon San Ramon Marriott, October, not September, October 18, 19, and 20. And we're going to be seeing you there. And we've got a lot of great talent that's going to be there assisting me. And Gary and his team will be there, and Deborah. So see you there at Pacificon. All right. So that's my story. So Amanda, back to you.
Well, thank you, Gordo. Thanks for all the info. We always appreciate it. Let's see. I'm going to introduce Andy. Andy, how you doing? Introduce yourself.
Well. Yeah, I'm Andy Milluzzi. I co-advise the ARRL Collegiate Amateur Radio program with actually my brother, Tony, KD8RTT. My day job is I'm an Imagineer for Disney, but I'm also really passionate about amateur radio, and I was recently appointed Vice Director for the Southeastern Division. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
hey, good job.
Yeah, radio is a big part of my day and what I like to work on for fun. So I got licensed as a ham while I was in college, and I've been really passionate about ensuring that sort of continues and that sort of unique environment and those really, really cool clubs keep moving forward.
Awesome. How'd you get involved in the Collegiate Amateur Radio program?
So I was in graduate school at the time, and the league had just received the gift from the Ed Schneider Foundation to start focusing on college students. So many of us got licensed either in high school or in college, and we've lived with this hobby for the rest of our lives. We've been inspired by the people we meet, by growing and tinkering and learning and, the science of it, the public service side of it, right? It's lasted so long, but that foundational time is really when you're that youngster, and getting on the air is so critical. So the Ed Schneider Family Foundation donated some money to the ARRL to kind of help this happen. In parallel, there was a grass sort of roots movement happening, and it was happening on social media. Folks were getting together, and the timing just worked out. So actually at Hamcation in 2017, we had our first ever collegiate forum, and we had a boatload of students come out. We had faculty advisors come out, and we didn't know what we were doing. We were like, every school is different, so it was, hold on, what's our goal? What are we doing? What can we do to be better? And that's where it really started. And it really came from the needs of this community. So I was at the University of Florida at the time. My brother had just started at Ohio University at the time. We had a number of folks from Central Florida schools. We had folks from Michigan State University. It was a good mix of folks at that first meeting. And there was a lot of, oh, you're having that problem too. Oh, you got around that? How did you get around? And it just became this organic information sharing that has really just evolved over the last 7 years now.
Fantastic. Well, I was not aware that this was a thing until just browsing through ARRL's website, and I ran across what I saw was the Collegiate QSO Party. Now, I'm a QSO Party freak, so that grabbed my attention, but I saw there was so much more to this. So that's what struck me about this. And I thought, well, if I don't know about this, a lot of our viewers don't know either. So there's actually a web page from the ARRL that Josh can bring up and show us. Everybody, our viewers, you can go check out more.
Yep. So this is the ARRL.org stroke We Want You is the easiest way to get to it. It's the letter U, just as you see. And this is our static page. It has all of those great resources that we can, sort of point clubs to. So we have our Facebook group. A lot of college students have migrated off Facebook. It's, not super popular right now, but it has a lot of great legacy information. We list scholarships, through the league that are available. There are so many students who are hams that don't realize that there are scholarships that they can, apply for and, get money to help pay for school.
Sure.
We have this great student membership now with the league that is free for everyone under 21. So that's perfect for our college students to get all the league benefits. And then more importantly, we have our public folder and our Discord. Our public folder has sample constitutions, what other college clubs exist. So you can kind of help navigate that. And that's just a OneDrive folder that we update pretty regularly with information in there. And then the Discord invitation on there, like everything, Discord has taken taken over. So there is a CARP Discord that is hopping. My phone has been buzzing nonstop tonight with folks in the Discord. And it's very, very loosely moderated. It is for the students. So the league is not sitting there controlling what's being said. It's super hands off. You don't have to be a league member to be a student involved with CARP. It's really a community service to the larger ham community, which is really fantastic.
It is fantastic. Well, it's great what you guys are doing. How many other people are on your committee?
So the folks that sort of are the glue year over year are me, my brother Tony, and then Bob Inderbitson and Steve Goodgame.
Okay.
And we sort of ensure the program continues. But we host monthly calls, and you can also register for those on the website there. And we just had our call for September last night. We had 50 participants in over 20 different colleges and universities represented literally coast to coast. We had Yale on there. We had Irvine Valley College. We had Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. We had West Virginia University, stuff like that. And we also try to give back and help support these schools. So one of the things we do is we have a giveaway for our college students on every call. Last night was our sort of activities fair kickoff one. So we actually sponsored a pizza party, and West Virginia's University's college club got actually a nice $150 pizza party to sort of help kickstart their activities this year.
Well, and no college student is going to say no to pizza. So
Right.
Really?
It's a great way to get people to come out to those first few meetings.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now you're hosting a QSO party. So what does that consist of?
So the Collegiate QSO party's been around now. I think we're in our 4th or 5th year. And we sent some photos along. I don't know if Josh wants to pull those up. But this is really motivation for clubs to get on the air in a fun environment to start things off. So the collegiateqsoparty.com, the website that Josh has up there, it's open to everyone. But there's only 2 categories. You're either a collegiate station or you're an individual station or a non-collegiate station. We have currently 6 schools that have already registered, which we just made the registration live last night at our CART meeting.
Oh.
So we already have Missouri S&T in there. We already have the Amateur Radio Club at UCF, the University of Central Florida, already the Amateur Radio Club at the University of South Florida, Milwaukee School of Engineering, the Ohio State University Amateur Radio Club, and the University of Cincinnati Amateur Radio Club. So those all registered just within like the first few hours of us getting it open. We release an N1MM logging file that has all the registered ones, so it'll score it all and everything for you, and that's also up there. But it's a super fun, relaxing QSO party that happens early October, which is when most schools are back. It's not a super long event. It's usually a lot of schools will do it. It's sort of football season, so they'll have fun with that, either tailgate and do it. For many students, this is their first time getting on the air, and the exchange is super simple. You're just exchanging, your QTH or your school and your signal report, like super easy and accessible.
Definitely.
Also means for like the 6 other QSO parties that happen that weekend, it's easy to overlap and, participate in all of those events.
And
Great.
the images
And
on
Josh-
the PowerPoint, is that the PowerPoint?
Yeah,
Okay,
the images are in the PowerPoint. Yeah. So our clubs have, use the QSO party as their motivators. What you're seeing here is actually Irvine Valley's club, these first few images. And this is from their activities fair. They're getting ready for the QSO party. They set up as what would be a field day equivalent of a 4 Alpha station for their activities fair at their school.
So they go pretty wild with it.
Yeah. So they have a number of radios set up. I have a picture of their little antenna farm out there. I think that's the next slide, Josh, where we can see they have a number of antennas set up and that sort of thing. And students just come by, and usually the antennas are a great way to grab that attention. And folks will, come and learn more. So, this is sort of how they're doing in getting ready for the event. Part of the QSO party does encourage portable operation in their quads. So that is a really fantastic way for them to get on the air. And if you keep going, the next slide is actually from Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology in Terre Haute, Indiana. And they're putting up, they actually had their tower come down and they just got it back up, and they're hoping to be on the air for the QSO party this year. And what's cool is, at so many college clubs, you're not renting a crane, it's usually all student done. This is one of those fun activities where the faculty can be directly involved. You get that practical hands-on learning, and you get to see some cool stuff done. So if you keep scrolling through those pictures, Josh, you'll see that, they had a big group of folks out there. It's not what you would expect as a normal sort of like amateur radio club. It's really diverse demographics typically because folks are just getting into it. Sometimes they're college credit. Teachers will say, here's some extra credit for getting involved, because setting up an antenna is a really good skill for an electrical engineer to learn and have.
Absolutely.
So, you have that sort of thing as a group, and it's that really practical hands-on learning. So they're getting on the air again and getting their shack set up this year for the Collegiate CUSA party. So we're super excited to have them back. And like I said, it's really cool to see these schools, inspired and active doing that. And then if we go down here to our last one, this is the Milwaukee School of Engineering. And I mean, the Collegiate CUSA party is usually a lot of fun for the clubs as well. It's that get on the air. This is from their activation last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're just having fun with it, hanging out in their shack. A lot of times, we've all been there. We have that mic fright of getting on the air for the first time, and you need someone to help coach you through. So this is that great opportunity because it's such a simple exchange, because it's not a big contest where there's a lot of points or big awards at hand. This is one of those abilities that you can get on there, make some mistakes, have people help you get through it, and get the hang of it. And next thing you know, people are on there working pileups.
Definitely. And I think people on the other end are more understanding or patient as well to help them through it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago, I was actually working with the Milwaukee Club, and we were trying to just pound out their first CW contacts. And I'm sitting here, and I was the one on the other end, and I'm working on my CW as well, and it was fun to just I logged 3 or 4 CW contacts with different folks, but we were going maybe 10 or 12 words a minute. Just trying it out. And it was that low sort of stress way to do it. And we all knew that we were, struggling through it. We had Discord on the back end. So, if we were like, oh, did you copy this correctly? Or how was my spacing? Or that sort of thing. You could get some of that practical feedback and some coaching from either side. So it was a really, really positive experience.
That's awesome. It's really neat to know that this takes place. And do you do this every year?
Yes, it's an annual operating event. So we have an info packet up there. We encourage every college station to get on the air. Shout out to the corn suit. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good, so I had to include that photo. But yeah, we do this every year, and we really encourage everyone to get on the air. If you are a college student, you also don't have to have a club active at your school. One thing we've learned is so many of these colleges and universities have had radio clubs, some going back to like the 1800s, like super old clubs, wow. But they don't have an active trustee, or they've lost their call sign, or, it's kept with an electrical engineering professor who, is old and adjunct and they don't know how to get a hold of them and that sort of thing. Like it's not necessarily easy to get a club up and running. So we've made this event friendly to those students that if you're operating portable at a park, if you're wanting to, try and operate on a loop from your dorm room, you can do that as well. And you can be a collegiate station just being a student. You can't score points if there are 2 students from the same school working each other. We don't want to. We want you to get together as a group and activate. But from a from that challenge of getting the club up and running, we totally get that every school is different. Most schools are used to spending money on, pizza parties and that sort of thing. And that's when you start doing capital stuff at a college or a university, it becomes a much bigger problem. So we don't want that to be a barrier to participation. And sometimes participating in this event gives them that publicity to turn around and say, hey, yeah, we do need to have those antennas fixed. Hey, yeah, this is why we have that space on campus.
It could help get some funding for it as well, which, is not the first extracurricular activity that usually gets funded, but hopefully this will help.
Well, what's been fantastic is through both the ARRL and ARDC, a lot of these clubs have gotten grants, and the Discord has been a great forum for a lot of these students to work together, because many of these students are undergraduates who have never written a grant before. So they're working with their faculty, advisors or their club trustees who may or may not be experts in grant writing, and they're putting those grants together. That's actually how Rose Holman got their antenna taken down. Originally, it was coming down with the strong possibility of not going back up. But when you come back to the school and say, oh, we have a grant to put this up, suddenly that motivates them to, this is bringing in money. We should put this up, sort of thing. So ARDC has been fantastic for that.
That's fantastic. Well, Andy, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. I hope everyone else gets on the air and works some of these college clubs. I think it's a great activity and a great way to get everybody involved. So, anything else you think we should know about
We
CARP
do
or
allow.
anything?
Yeah, for the Collegiate CUSA Party, we do allow clubs to self-spot. So, if you hear a collegiate station on the air, feel free to spot them. But there is a spotting page that's linked off of the Collegiate CUSA Party website. And then for CARP, if you are a student or you know a student, or you're a faculty member at a school that wants to, get your students involved with this, please feel free to join the Discord, join our calls. We really want to stay student focused. So, if you're maybe an alumni or, maybe a little too young to go to college yet, maybe take a seat, sit back and, listen and absorb. But if you know someone or you are an active college student right now, please, please, please get involved. Because we want to help you and support you in your amateur radio journey. This is a great lifelong hobby. And for so many students, this is that key time to get on the air, to get that confidence, to have that fun, to just open up what could be a career, what could be a lot of joy for the rest of their lives, and what gives us all someone to talk to.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And what I'm seeing in chat is basically everyone's shouting out their own alumni, so they're hoping to hear them on the air for sure.
I mean, there is some strong participation from alumni in the CUSO party. That has been a thing. I've seen schools where I get like 15 entries. And it's like, oh yeah, we sent an email blast to our alumni.
Yeah, because you never know who else is a ham and can get on the air and work them. And yes,
Yep.
we have Poda, Soda. Now we're gonna have Toda tailgates on the air. That's great.
Great for college football season.
Absolutely. All you need is some beer and brats to go along with it if you're of age. Anyhow, thank you, Andy, for being here. And we hope to have you on again sometime. You seem like you're highly involved in amateur radio, and there'd be many topics we'd love to hear about from you. So, and have fun at Disney over there, okay?
Oh yeah, I'm having a blast every day. It's a rough life when every day you're driving to Disney World.
Well, you'll have to, everyone that goes to Orlando Hamcation will have to make sure they find Andy and say hello. So
they will be able to find me in the ARRL booth. I'll be there, and I might also be around the Yoda booth. I also volunteer for Yoda and Yoda Camp, so I'm usually between those two spots. So definitely come find me. I'm also at Hamvention and a number of other Hamfests around the country. So yeah, definitely come by and say hi.
That's great. Thank you so much. And thanks to the other volunteers on your whole program. That's great for all of them. And I know Steve, he's always so busy. It's amazing.
I mean, that's why he drinks all the coffee.
I know,
That's right?
All right. Thank you, Andy. Let's hear from Icom.
Keep your competitive contesting edge with Icom. Icom's high-powered base stations cut through pileups, letting you work the bands and record those contacts. Contest from the comfort of your home or remotely with the RSBA One app. Heard it, worked it, logged it. Icom heard the call and answered. The ICPW2 is here. Take your contesting experience to the next level with Icom's industry-first linear amplifier, which includes DPD, digital predistortion, and a built-in 2x6 automatic antenna selector for SO2R single-operator 2-radio operation. With the IC7610, faint signals are no longer challenging for DXers and contesters. This high-performance SDR radio changed the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. This high-powered base station features an RF direct sampling system, 110 dB RMDR that can pick out the faintest of signals, even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals, an independent dual receiver, dual digicell, and more. This is the SDR every ham wants. For more information about Icom's amateur radios and to locate a dealer, visit icomamerica.com/amateur today. For the love of ham radio.
Hearing from Andy right now just made me think of something. If you are a young person and you're going to start touring colleges, make sure you ask to see their ham club. Go check out their ham club and check out that ham shack before you decide where to go to college.
Absolutely.
That's right. I like it. And then make sure they're involved with carp as well. Hey, huge thank you to Icom. We very much appreciate the support and sponsorship here on Ham Nation. Boy, I'm all kinds of tongue-tied because I am truly exhausted. But that doesn't mean we're not going to give away some swag packs. Every time we go live here on Ham Nation, we pick 3 winners for swag packs, and their names, along with every other person's names across the year that have been added to the list, go in for the monthly drawing at the end of the month. So, first, the winners of the swag packs. Mark F., KQ4PFY, Stuart N, KQ4KIH, and Chuck U, KB1PMW. So not only are you getting a swag pack, you're getting into the list of names that could win. What are we giving away this month? Well, let's scroll on down to September. The ICT-10, a great rugged handheld radio. Pretty new, too. I think it came out last year. So, yeah, look forward to that. For our last episode of the month, we'll be picking a winner for that. And thanks again to Icom. We truly appreciate the support. We're going to go check in with Don now. Hopefully he's still there and hasn't been blown away. Don, has the wind taken you? Are you underwater? Where are you at, bud?
No, we're fine. We're 50 miles from the Gulf, and we're 60 feet above sea level, so we're not going to worry about storm surge or anything else. I haven't even looked at the radar lately. I was texting actually with
a whole 60.
I was considering New Orleans is about 7 feet under.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at it. That's the eye wall's into New Orleans now. And what are our winds right now? Let me just look and see real quick. It's really not much of an issue for us here, but let me just look and say this is off the iPhone, so kind of just a thing. What are we looking at here? It's
okay, take your time, Don. We're not live or anything.
20 gusting to 48.
That's pretty serious. So, that's not. I don't want a 40-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah, when it's not 93 like it was when it came on shore. So it's tropical storm. We get those in summertime thunderstorms. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the news of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline. And we've got Dr. T this week recorded from a video she posted today. Lots of solar stuff going on, so you're going to want to pay close attention. So let's get into that right now. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2445, this is Ham Nation Headlines for Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. Scientists are hopeful that a Raspberry Pi may be a key component in making underwater communication more effective.
A Raspberry Pi is being used as one of the 3 main components of a modem that is under development by researchers in Italy to make underwater communications more effective and less expensive. As described in a recent article in the IEEE Spectrum, the Raspberry Pi is the modem's base. There is also a sound card hardware attachment which generates and records audio signals. For undersea operations, most modems use acoustical signals instead of radio because despite the slower rate at which they move, these signals can cover greater distances. By making this technology more affordable, the scientists believe its uses can be extended beyond the military or the offshore oil and gas industries into the realms of biodiversity studies and climate change. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
Some hams in Australia may have already noticed some new fees associated with their call signs.
Beginning on the 1st of September, hams in Australia will be paying a new fee of $34 for some special types of call signs that have a 12-month assignment period. Those receiving a contest call sign will be charged $15. Those transferring a call sign to another amateur will be charged $15, and hams with a VK9 or VK0 call sign representing Australian external territories are the ones who will pay $34. The ACMA will send these call sign holders a reminder to renew after the 12-month period. Otherwise, the call sign will be made available for reallocation on the registry. Meanwhile, hams having 2-letter, 3-letter and F-series call signs are required to confirm active use of their call every 5 years, but there are no longer any annual fees involved. An explanation of the new fees and policy from the Australian Communications and Media Authority can be seen on their website in the Amateur Radio Call Sign Policy document. This is John Williams, VK4JJW.
If you're looking to upgrade your United States license or to simply make a start as a technician, a new online resource has become available, and it's free.
Hopeful candidates for the U.S. Technician and General Amateur Radio licenses can now turn to a free self-paced study guide being made available on the educational platform known as Super K Nova. The courses were developed by the National Radio Astronomy Observatory with the help of a grant from Amateur Radio Digital Communications. Both the technician course and the upgrade to general class focus heavily on fundamentals of the electromagnetic spectrum and the basics of radio waves and propagation. The observatory said that this makes the material valuable for those in disciplines outside amateur radio too, such as individuals involved in science, technology, engineering, and math careers. The coursework makes use of licensed study materials from the ARRL. Jesse Alexander, WB2IFS, the project instructor, said in a press release that, quote, "This is a great opportunity to share amateur radio with a new generation of potential ham radio enthusiasts. We've designed this course to introduce learners to the electromagnetic spectrum while developing radio skills and knowledge," end quote. This is Stephen Kinford, N8WB.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org. With Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, John Williams, VK4JJW, Stephen Kinford, N8WB, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3, we'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now here's the solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
We have 2 solar storms on their way to Earth with a fast wind chaser. And some big regions are rotating into Earth view, and they've already shown that they are big solar storm and big flare producers. Those stories and more in the news this week. Space weather this week picks up in a big way. As we take a look at our Earth-facing disk, look at all the active regions in Earth view. We are saying goodbye to region 3806 and 3807 as they rotate to the sun's far side, but we'll get back to those in a minute because they're making a ruckus on the sun's far side. In actuality, we've been paying close attention to this kind of cluster of active regions here with some filaments that look like they were going to erupt, but thus far, most of the eruptions have been southward. But take a look at region 3821 as it begins to emerge here. There's a filament that lets go. Whoosh! Right there. Did you see that? That is an Earth-directed solar storm. In fact, as we take a look at coronagraphs, you can see much of the material here launching to the northeast of Earth, but there's a little bit of something right here. So this is an Earthward-directed solar storm, and we're expecting it to hit us any time now. On top of all of that, you can see we've got a little bit of activity from these regions here. Region 3814 picks up in a little bit, but let's go back to region 3806. You can see it on the sun's far side begin to kind of get really active right there. That was a big solar eruption, and then you can see a big whoosh that pop right there. Both of these far-sighted eruptions have created radiation storms that we're dealing with right now. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but it shows you that we've got some activity that's about to rotate into Earth view. In fact, the one on the that's just behind the east limb, it fired off back on the 3rd. It fired off a big X-class flare. This is an X2.4 flare, and you can see from the STIX instrument where it was located on the sun at that time. It was rotating almost center disk on the sun's far side. Then back on the 5th, we had an almost M8 and another X2.4 class flare from the same region. And again, when we take a look at where it was located, well, now it's rotated past center disk on its way to coming back around in Earth view. And then, believe it or not, on the 7th, it fires off an M-class flare and another radiation storm. So we've actually got some big flare players on the sun's far side. This one's about to rotate into Earth view. You can see some activity here. This is from region 3806 that just rotated to the sun's far side. So this far side is definitely lighting up, and we're expecting to see more. You can see these 2 regions right here that are going to rotate into Earth view. Meanwhile, we're not done yet with the Earth-directed solar storms. We've got region 3814 lights up a big solar eruption right here. You can hardly see that. But when we take a look at the coronagraphs, this is the stereo coronagraph. Again, much of the material is going kind of north of Earth, but you can see this really faint halo right here. So once again, we have yet another Earth-directed solar storm. This one's going to hit us sometime on the 12th. And so these are going to be back to back. And depending upon how closely they hit as a 1-2 punch, we could get some big storming even down to mid-latitudes. Now, switching to our full sun map, we take a look at SDO AIA imagery to see what's on the sun's front side, of course, but we also take a look at EUI imagery from Solar Orbiter to get an idea of what active regions might be lurking on the sun's far side. Now, as we set this map in motion, you can get oriented by looking at region 3806. That one is going to be rotating to the sun's west limb, but then also region 3821 and region 3814 as it rotates into view here. These were the two solar storm launchers that have those two Earth-directed solar storms that are coming toward us now. But also take a look at the sun's far side. We have two big active regions on the what's about to become the east limb here. These are the regions that have been firing off those big X-class flares, and last time they were in Earth view, they were big flare players. That looks like we've had a lot of growth in these regions. So as they begin to rotate into Earth view again, expect that big solar flares are going to be back on the menu at R3 level radio blackouts. And for you aurora photographers, even after we get these two solar storms hitting us, kind of dying down, we do have some big flare players and big solar storm players that are going to be rotating here into the Earth strike zone over this next week. So expect that we could have some big Earth-directed solar storms once again after all of this dies down. Now, switching to our solar flare and dayside radio blackout outlook over the coming week, we do have a lot of active regions in Earth view, and the ones to watch this week are region 3814 and 3822, and of course the east limb, because we have those new flare players that are going to be coming on board. Our solar flux is sitting well into the 200s, and this means good radio propagation on Earth's dayside, but we do have some moderate noise levels, and this is likely going to continue over this next coming week, with possibly it getting a little bit worse. NOAA is giving us about a 55% chance of M-class flares. This is at the R1 to R2 level radio blackout level over the next couple days, and a 15% chance of radio blackouts at the R3 level due to X-class flares. And likely that will boost just a little bit as we move into the latter part of this week because of those new regions rotating into Earth view. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, expect that the big radio blackouts are back on the menu, and the bands will continue to worsen over this next week. So you're just going to have to grin and bear it. So the space weather this week has gotten very active. We have two solar storms on their way to Earth, along with a fast wind chaser. This could give you aurora photographers some extended aurora, even down into mid-latitudes until about the 13th before things really calm down. So be sure to keep your batteries charged and keep your eyes on the skies. And now you amateur radio operators and emergency responders, well, things have been reasonably quiet for you, but things are beginning to get worse. Not only do we have those solar storms that are going to wreak havoc on Earth's night side, but now we have some new regions that are going to be rotating into Earth view over the next couple days that are big flare players again. So expect R3 level radio blackouts to be back on the menu, and possibly even more solar storms, as well as big radiation storms that then cause problems for you both in the north and the south poles in those high latitude regions. So just kind of grin and bear it and get through it over the next week. Things will calm down. And now you GPS users, well, things aren't looking all that great for you either right now. We have two Earth-directed solar storms that are going to give you GPS reception problems on Earth's night side, especially anywhere near aurora. On Earth's day side, we have those new regions that are going to be rotating into Earth view that are going to be giving big radio blackouts. So that could give you some GPS reception problems near dawn and near dusk. And if you happen to be at high latitudes, well, we have those ongoing radiation storms that are giving us issues at the north and south polar regions. So just be careful and be vigilant all over, and make sure that when those solar storms hit, that you calibrate your magnetometers often. I'm Tamitha Skov, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Dr. T. We certainly appreciate everything that you do for us and ham radio at large. Follow her on X at Tamitha Skov. She's got a YouTube channel as well. and of course, spaceweatherwoman.com. So check her out. We certainly appreciate everything that she does. And now we appreciate Amanda, because Amanda's got my favorite new segment.
I do
Ham
have
it,
that already. I'm pulling it
can
up.
it, or
Hammock,
what
can
am
it?
it?
Hammock, can it, or what am it? I do have to make a comment. Did Dr. T upgrade her graphics, or is that bright purple sun?
I
A
was
while
thinking
ago.
that- yeah, she's been
I
incrementally
not
getting
notice
better
it?
and better. They're
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good now. She's doing such a good job.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah.
So
It's,
I just
her-
had to
her-
make a comment on that.
Yeah, her graphics package is really sharp these days.
And she's got a little
she's-
3-button clicker with an actual keyboard clicker, and you could hear it. She's like, and you're like, yeah,
Click.
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
It's super
Standing
cool.
in front of the green screen, watching her little monitor off to the side. She's got it down.
She does. She's
an
awesome.
ace. Yeah, she's amazing.
All right, are you guys ready for Hammock, can it, or
so
what am
excited,
it?
as always, so excited.
Absolutely.
All right, let me find my page.
And Andy, you feel free to dive in too. Don't worry, you're still here. You talk if you got thoughts.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull you
I
up.
do. I find some whoppers out there on
Oh,
Instagram
yeah.
that has been my go-to here lately. So, this is a kind of a what am it? It's Raspberry Pi, NOAA, ham radio, Linux, Debian. I have no idea what they're doing here, but there are
Okay.
so many antennas
So the
hooked up
the
here. I have
clockwork-
no idea what they're monitoring. I scrolled in and I could see 162.5. That's why I think it was hashtag
the
with
weather.
NOAA. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
one of the
they're,
weather channels. And
They're
they've got a-
listening to weather.
They're
So
looking
But-
at the sun on there. So
I
the
know.
yeah, that's
clockwork,
interesting, yeah.
the sun is the clockwork Pi. That's running Raspberry Pi, and then above that, the little silver box on the right hand side of the clockwork is an SDR, which there's also
Yes.
one on the right. And then
Right.
he's got a GPS antenna on top of the clockwork, as well as
This one?
what looks no to the just above the sun, the little brown nub that's sticking out the
This
top.
thing.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
GPS antenna. Looks like he has a couple of GPS antennas, and then that round thing above the Spectrum display is a speaker, I think. He's
Yeah.
got, I don't know how many SDRs he's running, but I don't know that they're all actually working at the same time.
It cannot possibly be.
That's wild.
I just like, what in the
It's cool.
what?
I like it.
Oh yeah.
It is
I like
cool.
it.
All right. This was a cool little receiver, crystal receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that it was
With a
like,
little
wow.
clean
always
battery.
cool.
That's cool.
I know, isn't it? You
Yeah.
find the darndest things.
And that looks like an air variable capacitor too.
Is it? Let's see.
looked
Let's
like
go
it.
back.
If you look
yeah,
through
and
the clearness
tuning,
there.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The tuning capacitor. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what that is.
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
I didn't read what band it was for.
Right out of a little,
or frequency.
right out of an old transistor radio.
This is my AI picture of the week.
I was
Still
gonna say
sucks.
it's Ernest Hemingway meets ham radio,
That's right.
This
and
is the
he's also
Canon.
administering a lie detector. Is the thing that's right in front of him.
Clearly,
it-
or
it
or getting
appears
ready
to
to defibrillate someone. One of the two.
Right.
The dolly is weird. That's
love
all
it.
I can say. This one is really cool because we're doing the
Oh.
Colorado QSO party over Labor Day weekend. And this guy says he's kite portable. And I'm like, they're kite portable? What? Come again? And he was like, yeah, seriously, I got a dipole on a kite and I'm talking to you at a park and it's a kite flying contest and I have an antenna on mine. So I said, send me pictures. So he did.
That's
Look at
neat.
that.
That's
great.
really cool.
I know. So we
Actually-
talked to him.
Thankful
Over-
for clear weather, since you've got a wire in the sky.
At the Voice of America Museum, they have a whole bunch of people that come fly kites. We should tell them to
Really?
get on the air.
Yeah.
They-
Mhm. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
Yes. And so this was another photo
Oh,
that he
that's
sent. So
look at that.
isn't this amazing? And he was making all kinds of 20-meter contacts, and he has a zero call. So I do believe he was in Minnesota or Iowa, one of the two. WB0FFE. Anyhow, it was fantastic, and it was really nice that he did remember to send me photos. Because I was trying to put as many people in the log as possible. So Pokemon on there.
Some really cool photography too. I mean, just really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
super
really,
clean.
That's
Great
really
pictures.
cool.
Yeah, really
So-
nice.
This is
what do we got
another
here?
what am it?
Yeah.
It's obviously military. This says British Navy submarine. It just looked really cool and clean. But you could see over here the bands that they had, and they also had a band switch, but the band switch didn't make much sense to me because it's 0 through 9. And
It's like
Gordo,
Mr.
chime in anytime you want to. You're the
Is this
Navy
long wave,
coastal
Gordo?
guy.
It's like Mr. Coffee
yeah.
meets flux capacitor.
See, I was thinking flux capacitor. That's what I would.
Yeah.
But then I see crystal off on, so it's antiquish, but still looks modern. It's just.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it says 10 through 700 kilohertz. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
neat.
12 valves, tubes, and it's actually pretty small, 13 by 19 by 16. It's not terrible.
Mick in the chat says he had one of those. That's cool.
Really?
Steve
This is-
Goodgame would figure out how to get coffee out of that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like a coffee maker.
Would.
That's what I
This
thought. yeah.
is our Colorado QSO party setup. We hauled this sucker up to 10,000 feet,
Wow.
set
Neat.
it up, and cranked it up, made 650 contacts in about 10 hours of operating time. It was fun.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sure we walloped everybody, but because being Colorado section manager, I don't compete in my own call sign. I use a club call, so it's more than just me operating because I want to make sure everyone gets involved.
Hey.
Bicycle portable here.
Awesome.
I just thought it was cool. This is from a different country. I have no idea where. I didn't capture who posted this, but it was pretty neat.
Is that a wing to the right? Looks like a wing.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder what the noise level is on electric bikes these days on
Good
40
question.
That's an interesting question.
I'm considering getting one, Gordo, and I've been looking at that same thing. I'm curious about the RFI, but yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, here in Newport Harbor, they have electric boats, and the electric boats are plagued on HF with noise.
Sure.
I
Plagued.
could imagine. Mm-hmm.
I
This
did bicycle mobile back in 74 and 75 with a 23 channel Radio Shack handheld CB and a whip that was zip tied to the frame of the bicycle. I knew
would
guys that
admit
had
that.
mobile radios and car batteries on their 10 speeds. With one guy had a 102-inch whip that was on the rear axle bolt, and that thing was probably really
Good
really
thing
hard
you're
to.
from Oklahoma and there's no hills. That's all I
Oh.
can say.
There are hills in Oklahoma. It ain't Kansas. There are hills up there.
This is my good friend Ron, KC0ZPS. He traveled to South Korea this last week, and he was hell bent on activating some POTAs. He did 3 of them.
Wow.
And his cousin that he had never met that lives in South Korea came out and helped him. So this is one of the parks, and they did do a park that was near the DMZ.
Oh wow.
And
Really?
he had to get special permission and things like
I'm
that.
sure.
And he didn't.
Yeah.
He did all CW, and he didn't make it out of the Asian area for contacts, unfortunately. But he had a great time, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because
Did he
You
make
know.
it home?
That's what I'm saying. Bodily, did he make it out of the Asian area? Hopefully he did.
the last post I saw was this was their last day in South Korea. So I don't know.
That's cool. Look how green it
That
is.
could
That's
be
awesome.
ominous or not.
It's beautiful. It looks absolutely amazing
Very
there.
cool.
So yeah. This is Cyprus. These are some youth
Wow.
in Cyprus rocking their IARU Region 1 field day.
Nice.
So way to go. And they look like they're really putting into it, like putting up a hex beam or something.
Yeah, it looks like a hex
so,
beam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Going crazy with it. So congrats to
nice.
Cyprus. They're just like us.
It looks like they might have been doing a soda even. Just,
It could have. Well, they could have ended up being a soda. Yeah. It looks like it's just above a city. So yeah.
Yeah.
Gordo, this photo was for you because you
Yep.
were bringing up line fire, and I wanted to bring in some photos to acknowledge the great work that hams do in California. This is not a ham camera, but I wanted to point out that hams have a whole network of fire spotting cameras that they have on mountaintops in California. And I think you could talk more about that, Gordo.
They do, and our fire watch volunteers, when deployed, will monitor different cameras, and we're always looking for more volunteers because many times we'll spot with a camera smoke before hardly anyone else has spotted it on the deck.
Absolutely.
And this is what they're looking at is the flames coming over. I believe that's Santiago Peak, and we had a lot of repeaters up there. They didn't burn the repeaters, they didn't burn the tower or the dishes, but it caused the power lines feeding these 5,000-foot peaks, which are nothing to what you have, Amanda, for mountains. But yeah, they all went off the air. The generators came on. Some failed, some worked. So wow, and it's still going on right now.
And this is just another shot from another camera on that same peak. Different.
That looked like fire retardant from an airdrop on that lens.
Didn't it,
Did you see that? The spots? I bet that's what that was. Orange.
It probably was.
They did. They did a drop to try and prevent the flames because there's a lot of public safety comms up there.
Right.
They didn't want those to go down.
You can see it all up there. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
It's a
Very
major
cool.
site, obviously, kind of like your Signal Hills. That's all I have for Ham it or Can It. But
I like it.
I have a couple more things to talk about. Stand by. I have the Route 66 is going on right now, everybody. It's one of my favorite special events because there's 13 of them. Whiskey 6 Alpha through Whiskey 6 Sierra, I think, these days. Anyhow, it acknowledges Route 66 and it involves every state that Route 66 goes through. So all of the special events are on the air right now. You can't miss them. They're going to be on phone, digital, and CW. So you have no excuse to not get them all. And it's fun to chase them all. So good luck with that, ladies and gents that are running it. Thank you. This was really deep in Bob's heart, too. Bob loved Route 66. He loved being one of the stations, and he always enjoyed it so much. And he was not good at putting a lot of cues in the log because he loved to talk to everybody, but everyone accepted that. So I had to point that out, that's this week.
Hey, speaking of special event stations, I was doing some Whisper and other things today, and I noticed that one of the Whisper stations that came up was up in Colorado. It was the WW0 WWV station. So I looked it up, and it is the WWV Amateur Radio Club.
Yep.
And WWV is having their 105th anniversary. They're doing it with a special event station, September 28th until October 1st.
Oh.
So
I'm glad you mentioned that.
105th anniversary of WWV.
I usually put in some hours and help them get some cues on that. So thank you, Don, for bringing that up. I'm gonna write that down so I bring it up in news. Okay. Now AM QSO party is also taking place the end of September, and
something else Bob loved.
Yes, and I saw this note mentioned on Twitter a couple of times. And you guys, I don't care if it's X. I'm gonna call it Twitter for the rest of my life. I'm sorry. So I saw this and I said, I better mention it. So brush off your AM there on your radios and try to see what you can hear. And they've opened up 10 meters to it as well this time. So I've never heard an AM station on 10, but hey, I will listen out for them. I get a little intimidated because everybody wants to use their boat anchors for this kind of events. But and when you tell them you're on a 7610, it's embarrassing. So.
Sure. Yeah, I feel the same. I do. I feel the same way. Yeah.
So anyhow.
But hey, you're getting on and you're doing it, and that's the important thing.
That's true. It's true. As long as you're getting on the radio, they're pretty cool. Other AMers. So.
Makes you want to go to Huntsville and buy a half-ton worth of boat anchors and drive it home.
I'd like to have at least one.
Yeah.
In my collection.
Since the Eagles are out on tour, I just want to go hang out at Joe Walsh's house that weekend.
Yeah.
Use his stuff.
That'd be nice. Yeah. Get him on the air.
Use his stuff. He's gone.
Yeah, he's got everything.
Yeah, he's gone. Okay.
I'll house
he's
it
not
for
even
you, Joe.
there.
Not a
He's
problem.
not even there. Like, Joe, we love you, Joe, but can we just hang out with your
Joe.
radios? Is that cool? Can we just come play with your...
We got
Maybe
you, Joe.
play with a couple pinball machines.
Oh, yeah, that would be me. I'd be playing pinball.
Absolutely.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show. So the only thing else I have to talk about is the after show net. So we have Kev on 7192, and Steve should be around 14268. So be sure to listen to them. Thank you to our net controls. And don't forget, we also have D-Star, 14 Charlie. And that's it. That's all I got, everybody. What's everyone else got?
I'll be live I'll be live this weekend. I don't know exactly what I think I'm probably going to talk more about my e-ink tablet here. It looks like a phone, but for all of us ham radio operators who want, devices to go along with you everywhere, they're great because the battery life is forever. Like, it's so long, and we're not doing much other than logging, and even you can do FT8 on that, and it runs like for forever. So, yeah.
Sweet. I got to be honest, I love those old Kindles with that.
Yeah.
That screen.
The e-ink.
It looks exactly like a book, and I have one still, and it's kind of coveted. Like,
I know they tell you, like, oh, we look at screens too much, it hurts your eyes, all that stuff. Those e-ink displays, it just doesn't. It feels comfortable to look at.
Well,
it's always felt
it
that
is
way.
extremely comfortable.
They're reflective like a piece of paper. It's not like you've got, a million little tiny little LED chips, blasting your face with light. So
right. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. How about you, Gordo? Anything?
I got a ham sticker, a Heil sticker.
Oh,
I got a Heil
show
sticker.
that off. There
Oh,
we go.
nice. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gordo, what's
Mine.
going on?
It's
Are
all
you
mine.
doing anything for supporting the fire this week or this weekend?
Yep, working one of the key cameras on just looking at it. And it's the VHF UHF weekend, I believe, this weekend.
Oh, good.
Very cool.
Well, you guys will have a lot of action then.
Yes, indeed. And do
So we'll be
FT8.
playing radio.
It's the time to go up to one of those peaks and hand out some contacts.
I mean, if you can get up there, like around me, everything's covered in smoke. There's smoke everywhere.
Seriously, it's that bad.
Well, no, it's
Wow.
multiple fires. We're in the time of year where California is completely engulfed.
It's going to
and we're
burn
all just
until
hanging
December
on.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
It's a sad time.
It is. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, Andy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks for
Andy.
having me.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, I actually worked one of the Route 66 stations here while Ham Nation was going
Oh, cool.
on FT8. So
Sweet.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you, Andy. What an active ham. I love that. I love that.
Tell
so
me
much.
about
Appreciate
it.
you, man.
Very cool.
Very cool.
I'm remote with it too. I got a 7300 and I'll run my computer, have it connected to my iPad.
That's awesome.
I'm
That
almost
is
always
nice.
on it. Yeah.
Super cool.
Radioactive Andy.
Hey, there you go.
You earn your nicknames around
That's
here.
it.
That's right. Oh, I have a quick announcement for those in the New Orleans area who are planning on going to the Slidell, Louisiana Ham Fest this Saturday, actually Friday and Saturday. It has been canceled this year because of the storm. I think they're going to try to reschedule it.
Bummer.
But this weekend, the Slidell, Louisiana Ham Fest, just northeast of New Orleans, is off the books. So don't
bad.
come to the Ham Fest. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
that's it.
All right. Well, thank you,
All right.
everybody. Thanks so much
Thanks,
for
everyone. Thanks, viewers. Thanks, chat room. 7-3.
watching. 73.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for being here.